31st of July 2023. This news flash, I'm going to talk more about this battery problem that we see everywhere. But the mainstream media is making sure that it never hits the headlines. The question you have to ask yourself is why? The reality is that these lithium batteries are in effect actually a bomb. And it needs just a few things, small things, to go wrong. And the fire that results from that battery cannot be contained. You've only got one option. Leave it alone and let it burn out. Because you can't kill that fire with water. I've seen an article where the guys were talking about it. The EV vehicle that caught fire. They used 150,000 liters of water on it. And they couldn't douse the fire. That is the reality of lithium batteries. And the people do not understand it. You take this little battery. This is a little battery that is used in a small RC car. This is a small one. This is a small one. I've got ones that are 4 times this size. The reality is, all it takes to turn this battery into a flaming bomb is I need to puncture this skin that is pulled over it with a needle. That is all that is needed for this thing to turn into a fire that will burn my house down. And I cannot stop it because I have to leave it to burn out. Think about that. One needle in that small battery and it's done. Now, listen to this. Extreme fire risk with EVs exposed to salt water. Coast Guard issues an alert not to allow on ships. Think about that. Salt water. How does the salt water become a problem for the lithium batteries? These lithium packs in the cars and in the electric vehicles. Because as that salt water evaporates, it leaves a salt residue. And that salt residue can become a conductor between the poles of those batteries. And just like that, it is a flaming inferno. But I did a skid mark on this, and some clever guys came with comments and telling me I'm talking nonsense and that I'm not giving the right information and all that crap. But I just ignore them because I know where they come from. So I ignore them. Look at the facts and look at the science. Listen to it. The US Coast Guard is warning the shipping industry of the extreme risk of loading electric vehicles with damaged lithium-ion batteries onto commercial vessels. As CTIFF.org has reported before, saltwater exposure can harm lithium-ion batteries and cause a chemical reaction which creates a high fire risk. This was discovered in the aftermath of the Hurricane Ian, when a large amount of EVs with damaged batteries caught fire in southern Florida. In the aftermath of the Category 4 hurricane, first responders encountered numerous EV fires, where investigators have determined were caused by exposure of lithium-ion batteries to salt water. Vessels, ports and shippers should be aware of this extreme risk and avoid loading EVs with damaged lithium-ion onto commercial vehicles. The US Coast Guard Safety Alert reads. An earlier safety alert was issued last March, which highlights a recent incident where improperly discarded lithium-ion batteries caught fire in a container while en route to the port of Virginia, where it was said to be loaded onto a ship. The container's bill of lading allegedly listed the contents as computer parts, not lithium batteries. Now, if you're a South African, you can remember the Helderberg crash there near Mauritius, and it was a tragedy. A friend of mine was on that fucking flight, and there has never been a real facts of what the fuck happened to that plane. But there are rumors that there were batteries on that plane. And this I'm not going to read to you. This is the recommendations issued by the Coast Guard. You can stop the video if you want to look at it in detail. And then we get to this. FEMA recently issued guidance for how to respond on EVs exposed to saltwater. With EV sales expected to increase drastically in the next few years, there are growing concerns in the firefighting community about how to deal with EV fires. The NHTSA emphasizes first identifying any flooded electric vehicles and then moving them at least 50 feet from any structures, other vehicles or combustibles. NHTSA 14 Guidance for First Responders and Second Responders, developed in collaboration with the US Fire Administration and others, was revised after the 2012 flooding from Hurricane Sandy submerged several hundred EVs in saltwater, leading to several fires. According to the NHTSA, residual salt within the battery or battery components can form conductive bridges that can lead to short circuit and self-heating of the battery, resulting in fires. The time frame in which a damaged battery can ignite has been observed to vary widely from days to weeks. For example, in the storm surge in Florida that accompanied Hurricane Ian in September 2022, many vehicles were submerged, at least partially in salt water. In the following weeks, at least 12 EV fires were reported. One on Sanibel Island burned 2 houses to the ground. Also, the International Association of Fire Chiefs has a webinar available. Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, these batteries are severely dangerous. And there's something that you really need to just take in consideration. We, the normal people, are becoming more and more aware of the evil plans that these mongrels that push this green farce onto us are capable of. They showed it to us in the pestilence. You have to ask yourself one question, and that is the fact that these lithium batteries, all of them, contains some electronic circuit to manage that battery. What if those batteries in their control systems contains a command that can be remotely activated to self-destruct? Think about that. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.